You're listening to the Big Blue Podcast at the Center for Creativity at Tulsa Community College. I'm Lee Goodson, president of TCC, with my co-host, Provost Greg Stone of the Metro Campus. Hi, Greg.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
We're really excited to have Tina Péna here today. Did I say that right, Tina?
It's great, yes.
How would you say it if you said it?
Tina Péna.
Péna.
Péna,
Tina
yes, but
Péna.
it's
Tina
fine.
Péna. Okay, I know you're so gracious to accept it, no matter how it comes out of my mouth. Associate professor of Spanish and well known throughout the community. I go out and about, and they'll say, "Oh, do you know Tina?" I say Tina Péna, except I don't say it quite right. But
No,
anyway,
it's perfect.
yeah, they're like, "Yes, she's so great." And so anyway, appreciate the you taking the TCC message out to the entire community. So I just want to say that up front and say how much I appreciate that. But we're really glad to have you here. You're involved
Thank
in
you
so
for inviting
many different
me.
things. Yeah, glad to have you here.
Well, and one thing that really I know, Tina, you are very gracious and do not like a lot of attention, but you've recently received some really prestigious awards that we're also proud of you for. You were recently given the 2015 Oklahoma Human Rights Award at the state capitol. The Oklahoma Universal Human Rights Alliance said you were, quote, a great advocate for our immigrants, undocumented students, and LGBT rights, and an asset to the people of Oklahoma. I mean, what does that award mean to you?
Thank you.
Congratulations, first of all. How does hearing that make you feel?
I was honored and I was humbled to be recognized. Of course, as you know, I don't like that attention because I know I do not do things alone. I have the support of TCC administration, my colleagues, my students, and we all do work together. So that recognition was humbling, a very humbling experience. This was the celebration of human rights on December the 10th. And it was in recognition to all of us who participate and engage in organizations that work to preserve human rights and to promote human rights, like the ACLU, United Nations, even Martin Luther King, and a lot of organizations where I participate. Yeah. Personally, I have learned a lot from people in these organizations. You know, they sort of forget their own struggles and they go and reach out to people to give them a hand. And I've learned from them. I also look at people's struggles and try my best to reach out a hand along with my students or those who are around me.
That's so exciting, just the heart that you put into all the work that you do. So a little bit about what you work on. Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is focused on the right to education and personal development. How does that document and that fundamental right, how do you take that and work it within your teaching and mentoring here at TCC?
Yes, and really that is a very good question for educators because many people, I know a lot of people who are educators who want to be able to put a little of themselves into the teaching, but go beyond that. And as an educator, not only teaching language and culture, but it could be translation, it could be interpreting. I have made a decision, a conscious decision, to promote friendliness and camaraderie and understanding to other cultures and other minorities by teaching them to participate in society and to do work that's rewarding and reasonably remunerative, because when you teach them, you want them to do better than the former generations. And I hope, it's my hope that students do well and do get, paid well. In my classes, for example, there is an exercise that I do with the students, and I give them an option. There are two options. They could either attend a cultural event that has to do with Spanish, because Spanish is what they're learning, and talk about it, do a little research on what's quinceañera, or what's Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, or something like that. Or they can take a questionnaire that I have with 13 questions, plus they could add something else. So that questionnaire goes to anyone they want to interview in their jobs, at church, or whatever they attend. So that exercise has proven to be very important culturally. People learn about other people that they have worked with and didn't realize that a person who was a janitor and had a kind of a menial job had a degree back in their country, and that they had a trajectory worth to be told. And that creates some sort of culture sensitivity. And I think that's how this document or this article 26 prompts me to do better and help students, to be better and to understand other cultures and other minorities, whether they are religious differences, LGBTs, people with accents. It's just a matter of understanding. Whenever you have a story, people you don't know, but you end up talking to them and they tell you a story. That makes a big, big difference. So next time you vote, you think of this person. You think of the people that you have been dealing with,
Because everyone has a story. And too often we forget that we're not the only ones with stories, that everyone else has one too. And we don't take time to ask about them.
Right. So I love this exercise, really.
In addition to the Oklahoma Human Rights Award, you were also honored last year by the United Nations Association of Eastern Oklahoma with the Ambassador Edwin G. Core Global Citizenship Award. You were a founder of Dream Act Oklahoma. You are actively involved in many organizations in the community, the Midas Foundation, the Martin Luther King Society, many other community agencies. Your show, Timas in Tulsa, which is now in its 12th year,
yes,
is seen throughout much of the state. I'm sometimes exhausted just thinking about all the work that you do. In addition to your classroom teaching, you've developed and oversee the medical interpreting program. What fuels your energy and your passion to do this work, Tina? You're so engaged, like Dr. Goodson was saying at the top of the podcast. Everyone in town knows who you are, and you're so widely recognized for your service to the community, let alone your service to our students. What keeps you engaged and energized to do all this great work?
It's mainly gratitude. I am so grateful to this country for giving me such an opportunity to get better, to show and showcase my culture. And I feel grateful whenever I do fundraising for Midas Foundation. That's how the United Nations recognized our work, because I haven't forgotten those people we left behind. I know that in this country we have such a surplus of everything. Mm-hmm. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, goodness, there are so many children that go to bed hungry and thirsty and cold, and many times they are squatting in places. They live with 8, 10 people. It's just...
Most of us have no idea.
Exactly. Right. A lot of children here do not have any idea. Many, maybe both of you, because you are well-traveled and you have read and you've seen, you understand, but a lot of our children here do not have. So to me, it gives me an opportunity to give back and to allow others to also give back with their work, their pockets, because this is a foundation that we use to help children in Peru and their families.
Well, just a reminder for those who may just be listening in, this is the Big Blue Podcast. I'm Lee Goodson, president of Tulsa Community College, and we also have Provost Greg Stone, our co-host here, and we're here with Tina Péna. And she said that I said it right that time, so just for those who can't see it. So let's talk about your show, Timas in Tulsa. Did I say that right?
Hey,
yes, okay.
Beautiful.
Yes. So talk about that specifically. What made you decide to start that, and how do you think it impacts really not just Tulsa but the entire state?
That's true, the entire state. Thanks to
Yes.
the
Tell
Center
us a
for
little.
Creativity and all the
Yes.
leadership, all the professionals here who
Great
are
program here.
really, they're committed to our core values, to our mission, our vision. And if it weren't for them, this would not exist. In 2004, Governor Henry appointed me at one of the task forces. It was the Advancement for Hispanic Students for Higher Education. It was overseen by the state regents for higher education. This was a bill that turned into a law, SB 596. It was sponsored by the late Senator Leftwich. And so our task was to monitor the implementation of this wonderful, wonderful opportunity for undocumented students. So we went around and talked to the presidents of the different universities, colleges and universities of Oklahoma, and spoke about this new opportunity. But because at that time Hispanic students didn't have any more hope, they just would drop out of school, 9th, 10th grade, like they couldn't go to school before that. So we wanted to promote graduation rates. We wanted to have those Hispanic students to graduate and tell them that there is a path to college. If you graduate from an Oklahoma high school, you could attend. And we were very proud to be the 11th state with this opportunity for undocumented students. So I came to Lauren Farr at that time and said, we have got to do at least one little show, please. At that time with Mr. Péna in the state regions, he spoke Spanish. I wanted him to educate us about it. And we did that one show, and I'm telling you, everybody was like, oh my gosh, and they wanted to be interviewed. They wanted us to interview students.
How exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Teachers, social workers, the organizations wanted us to promote them because they wanted scholarships. So, and then we have been adding students who have been here in Tulsa have moved to OSU, to OU, and they keep saying, "Can you interview this and that?" And so we came to the leadership at the Center for Creativity. Can we do this? Can we add one more? And they say yes. And then because of them doing this deal with RSU. We have added at least 1.25 million viewership.
New viewers. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
and
amazing.
It is. So the radio calls us. Students, teachers, just about everybody. And so to me, it is what we started. We started promoting education. We started promoting students who didn't want to continue school because there was no hope for them.
That's great.
I want to talk about something too, Tina, and you sort of touched on this just a minute ago, but given the rhetoric around last year's election, what challenges and opportunities do you see for Hispanic, not just Hispanic students in the state, but our own students, but people of Hispanic descent in general? I mean, what's your read on how people are responding to the rhetoric of the election that we've just been through?
Yes. Well, let me speak as a citizen. I think the morale is pretty low with my community. The students are afraid. The parents are even worse. Students especially who are DREAM Act or DACA, that was, it was an executive order signed by President Obama. And if that goes away, we're going to have a lot of separation of families. Some families back in 2011, where they were going through that, they were very afraid. They would come to our churches and say, "May I have you sign a power of attorney in case they come to my job and I have to leave my kid behind?"
Wow.
And so it is sad. It is sad. And I'm not inventing this. All of us have heard this president-elect insulting our people, insulting minorities. So I'm scared. I'm sorry, but I'm scared,
And it sounds like many of our students may also have some additional worries on their mind other than just being able to complete a course or study for a test.
Yes. We've asked students who wanted to do a study abroad this spring to come back before the 20th. They can no longer go because we don't know if they come back. They're not going to let them do that. So I'm sad, but I'm hopeful too.
So what's the one thing you wished that TCC employees better understood about Tulsa's Hispanic population and about our Hispanic and Latino students?
Well, I want my colleagues to know that there are 21 Spanish-speaking countries. They were all different. Those of us who were born on the Pacific, we grew up with fish and seafood and really tacos and tacos and, what is the other one?
Tostados, tamales.
Yeah, no,
Relleno. Nachos.
Oh my gosh, tortillas.
I'm hungry.
Tortillas. I know.
Really, I mean,
I can eat a
tacos and
lot of
tortillas are not endemic to us, but that doesn't
Right.
mean I don't like them.
Right.
Oh, no.
No. But they're
Why
not
would you not like
endemic to
tacos
us.
or tostados?
Oh, yeah, I like it, but we're all different, but we have the same thing in common. We are resilient people. If we've come all the way, thousands and thousands of miles to these countries because we wanted to have a better life and give a better life to our.
It's a work ethic.
Yes, and we are
Yes.
loyal to our families, to our elderly, to our kids, and to our jobs. We take our jobs seriously, sometimes too seriously to the point where we're overwhelmed. But yeah, and our Mexican, the majority is Mexican, but our Hispanic population here is growing tremendously. We are contributing to this state, whether people believe it or not. If people are undocumented and they're renting from you, from that money, people are still paying taxes. When people say, they don't pay taxes. No, yes, they do pay taxes.
Yes.
And they're contributors. I mean,
That's a misconception. So let me just stop for a moment there. That's a misconception. I was meeting with the president of the Hispanic Chamber, Francisco Trevino. Yes, and he's a good friend, and he started talking about that. I said, wait a minute, and I didn't know that, and so he said, oh yes. He said, whether you're documented or not, most go ahead and file their taxes so that
Right.
they'll be
Of course.
prepared.
Yes.
Right.
For
And
the
that-
opportunity they do have.
Yeah, so
to
that if
become
they have
citizens.
the opportunity to become citizens,
absolutely
they're not
right.
behind on their contribution.
Right. And
right.
that half that goes into Social Security, it goes to something called the suspended file that is growing by the billions because they cannot take it back like
Right.
you and I could at the end of the
Right.
year. They can. And a lot of
Yeah.
people are going to be working until they're 100 years old. It's funny because the government gives you that little TIN, tax ID number, so you can pay your taxes. But then
Right.
they go, he's undocumented and all that, but they give you that. And so, such hypocrisy.
Very interesting how that works.
Well,
yes.
and it goes back to what you said earlier. It's not just one story, right? It's not just not all Hispanic people are Mexican, not and not all undocumented workers are avoiding paying their taxes. I mean,
No.
there's these broad stereotypes out there
Right.
that just simply aren't true or accurate, and it takes a lot of us who are natural citizens or who are here legally to help tell that story and correct that record.
Yeah, one story does not fit all.
That's right.
Exactly. Undocumented people cannot even, in Oklahoma, they cannot buy insurance. And then we blame them when they, hit somebody and they don't have insurance because you are not allowed to. But our DACA kids can. Our DREAM Act kids who have gone through DACA, they can go to school, work, have insurance, drive, and provide for their families. But so if DACA were to be taken away, look at this.
Wow.
It's scary.
Well, there's so much more we could talk about with our guest, Tina Péna, but we do have one final question for you that we ask all of our guests, which is if you could go back in time and give 18-year-old Tina Péna some advice, what would that advice be?
I would study political science to become, to run for a Senate seat and represent our communities, our minority communities especially.
Wow.
You could still do that.
not too
You
late.
don't have to be a political science major to do
Right,
that,
right. But my husband has given me an ultimatum: no more political.
Ah,
So I can. I'm busy enough that maybe some other
Okay.
time.
Well, if anything is proven true, it's that never put anything past Tina Péna. So
That's
you
right.
never
You're
know.
sweet.
You
Thank
never
you.
know.
Oof.
Don't let go. Maybe just put it on hold, right?
Oh, I'll let my husband hear this.
Oh, yes. We'll send him a link.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you so much
Well,
for inviting me.
Thank you,
Appreciate you.
Tina. And thank you, Greg. You're listening to the Big Blue Podcast. I'm Lee Goodson, president of TCC, here with Dr. Greg Stone, provost of Metro Campus. We're glad that you listened today, and have a great afternoon. Greg?
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Tina.
thank you.